go over our next one is about the Bigfoot hunters. We're gonna get right into one of his stories, and this is one of my favorites. And these were one of the favorites from one of you all too that you submitted. And I was very excited when because I did ask all of you, hey, what was one of your favorite moments? We'll try to fit what we can in. And this one came up, and I was very excited because this is another one that I like. So this was about a story that was a very compelling segment that came in around June 5th, 2001. Art delved into a captivating world of Bigfoot alongside seasoned researcher Robert W. Morgan. He was a big-time Bigfoot researcher at the time. Their discussions featured the gripping testimony of a hunter known as Bugs. That's a name, right? Who encountered re-encountered a chilling encounter in Texas over 30 years ago. So when this came out, this was 2001. So I would say that'd be 1970 something. I'm guessing.
70s.
Yeah. Bugs and his companions unwittingly shot and killed two mysterious beings, later revealed to be a male and female Bigfoot. The versatile description painted a haunting portrait of these enigmatic creatures. Robert provided further analysis, exploring the implications of Bigfoot phenomenon from tales from other potential evidence and sacrifice. So we're going to listen to two of these audio clips where he is talking to this gentleman, and I can't wait for y'all to hear this. This is going to be fun. So
come around this bend and come up over this rise, and there was a wheat field out in front of us, and just before we crossed this creek, and
this is R2's grandfather, by the way.
There's a valley down in there, and there's probably, I'd say it's has wheat land right there. There's probably a quarter mile or so wide from that road to the creek, and it's probably about a mile long. It runs alongside that creek, and it's flat and has that. And we come around this bend and up and over a little hill and dropped into this valley. Well, just as we dropped into this valley, our lights picked up a set of eyes. And I hit the brakes. I was driving, and Bird Dog, he come out on the side. He had a 300 Weatherly Magnum, and he come across the top. I said, what you got? And he says, I don't know. That ain't something I ever seen before. Well,
how terrifying would that be if you're a hunter and you hunt all the time, and then you come across something that you've never maybe encountered before? That's pretty scary.
Who the hell is Bird Dog?
It's funny. So
when you said a set of eyes, did you mean two eyes or four?
Two eyes.
Two eyes.
Two eyes.
What color were they, Bugs, if you don't mind?
They were furious red. The reddest eyes I've ever seen in my life.
This is really? Bugs talking.
Under those lights. It was something we knew it wasn't a deer because of the eyes, and it was something. And so I pulled my rifle out. I used a .243. I put my scope on it, and I could see whatever it was crouching. And so Bird Dog, he got out and leaned over the hood of the pickup where he could get him a good shot. And Jim, he come up over the top of the cab, and I don't even remember what kind of rifle. I think he was using a .270. I don't remember for sure. But he lined up over the cab, and I was sitting there, and we just had both these spotlights on this varmint there. And I said, I don't know what it is, and they don't either. And I said, well, it sure ain't nothing we know about it. Let's take it. And all three of us fired at the same time. And all of a sudden, this thing got up, and it must have been 7, 8 foot tall at least. I don't know. Scared the heck out of us. Started running. And, well, we all loaded, and we fired again. We knocked it down again. And then it run, I guess, it was probably 100, maybe 150 yards from the point we fired the first time till it hit the fence and went into that creek. And we knocked it down. It's probably 25, 30 yards from the fence.
It fell into a creek.
No, not at this point. And just as it was crossing the creek, we hit it again.
Now, was it running on 4 legs or 2?
It was running.
I love his companion Robert, Art's companion, talking here. He has some of the greatest comments, so you just keep an eye out for them.
On 2 legs, just like a human being, and I mean it was.
Right, so it was running on 2 legs. It's something you've never seen before. But you three guys cut down on it.
Well, we had done shot, and we did not know what it was. It was hunched over. It really wasn't using its front legs, its arms, as much as it was. It wasn't standing up straight. We still thought it was, what I thought it was at first, to be honest with you, was a bear.
Yeah.
And that's why we fired.
All right, so you had three of you fired initially, right?
And
so
we all fired 3 times.
So
you guys are all non-vets, right?
Right.
And so you've had night combat, I'm sure.
Right.
Okay, so you have something getting up on 2 legs and running away, and you still cut down on it. Okay, I have the picture. Go ahead, please.
Okay. But like I said, I originally thought it was a bear. I had no idea. We had done fired on it at the point in time that it was sitting out there.
I'm waiting for a Bigfoot picture to show up.
Once we fired, I don't know, I guess we just got a little bit.
I didn't get the rights for cannoli.
Kept shooting. But anyway, the second time we shot it went over the fence. Well, we went and looked, and at this point in time, we were all getting scared because we thought, well, maybe this wasn't an animal.
Right.
So, like I say, it was probably 3, 4, 5 in the morning, so we decided to drive around a while. About 5:36, we went back over there, and we drove up there, and we went down, and we seen blood. So, we've seen some tracks. Looked like a human foot, and to be honest with you, I thought, now we done shot a human.
That's terrifying. If you're in the woods and you're hunting and you think you shot somebody and you thought you were shooting an animal, that's pretty terrifying. Go ahead.
It is terrifying. I'll throw a caveat that if you see something running on 2 legs, don't shoot it. It's this is me being safe.
Okay.
It could be a hobo for all you know.
Yeah, and
to be fair and stuff, I think he may have confused Bigfoot with my mother.
Now I'm getting scared. So we go on up and start following these tracks, and the creek runs from this point probably 50, 75 yards east, and then it turns back south some. Well, these tracks are going down the creek, and they come out, and they went straight on east from where the creek turned back south. About another 25, 30 yards, there was a plum thicket. And we were walking there, and we heard something in that plum thicket. I mean, it was a growl-type sound. And we kind of looked at each other, and so we decided, well, who goes in and see what it was?
A growl.
Yeah, and again, at this point, we thought, well, it's a bear. We done found a bear up here.
So just in a few seconds, you're going to hear something that he has on file, Art Bell, of a scream.
So, I got elected. I had a 44 Magnum pistol. I climbed into the plum thickets, and I got in, probably 20 feet at the most. And Art, this thing come up at me. I mean, it couldn't have been over, I'd say, 6 or 7 feet from me. I didn't even see it until it was there. And it raised up and let out a sound that is very similar to the one you have on your tape. And when it did...
You're talking about, as he grabs for it, this one, I presume. Anything like that?
Yeah, just the first one, not a repeat. Just
that first scream is said to be an authentic Bigfoot sound. Robert?
Yeah, that's what they say. I have never heard them scream like that. I've heard them howl, I've heard them hoot, and I've heard them talk. But I've never...
You've never heard a scream like that?
No. First of all, I've never challenged them, so they don't perceive me as a threat of any sort, so they wouldn't try to
Understood.
do that.
All right, so anyway, Bugs, it sounded something like that.
It's something similar to just the first part. It didn't go on and on. It's just one shrill.
Right.
And I'm basically.
What do you think that was? Like that actual sound? Do you think that was like a?
I don't know.
There was like a lot of reverb going on with
there.
that.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in that. Yeah, that's it. Could have been like a German metal band that we don't know.
Sounds like the sound we used to make out of those toy microphones.
Rammstein was playing in the woods. Is what
But I mean, I hate to break it to you all, but that's just the sound of my mom's stomach.
Fellas, it's clearly a chupacabra.
And I just brought my not far from the truth. Started popping shells. And the first one I hit, the first one hit it. I just aimed right
shooting
at
at
it.
Describe what this thing, since you were seeing it now full on, what did it look like?
Oh.
Best you can.
At that point,
6 feet tall.
probably, but it was not standing up, Art, at that point. It was more in a hunched squat type position.
All right.
I mean, it come up.
Would you describe this as human looking, as ape looking? Did it have hair covering it? What can you tell us about it?
It had brownish red hair. It had hair on the face, completely covering the face. Its whole body was covered with hair. At that point, I just fired. It dropped down, started back up. I fired again, and it then kind of rocked and went backwards, and it come back up, and I fired again. I hit it 3 times with a 225 grain 44 Magnum hollow point, or probably 6 to 8 feet, and it was down. Well, the other guys were standing guard up on top watching, and they couldn't see nothing. They heard me firing, and they yelled if I was all right, and I said, yeah, I got it. Well, they came crawling in there and where I was at, and they seen it, so we decided we'd drag it out. We got to looking, and all this thing had was 3 holes. And this was a female. You could tell it had breasts similar to a woman.
How many
It had a
holes on a
sexual
female?
organ similar to a woman.
3.
Facial features were different than a human being.
3.
Like I say, it was covered completely in hair.
He's not a
We went
biologist.
back in and we found the male
3
probably,
holes.
I'd say, 8-10 foot behind where she was at. He was dead.
He was dead.
Yeah. So we drug him out. We laid him out side by side. The male was probably 6 to 8 inches taller than the female. Estimating the male to probably be 8 foot plus, female 7 plus. So we looked at him. We got scared because, in the male, he had sexual organs like a human. We looked at their teeth; they were not human type teeth. I can't say that they were an ape. I can't say that they were a human. They looked. They had the features of a human overall, but the details were not.
So that's the first part of that call.
All right, I gotta say something real quick.
Yeah.
In the great words of Bruce Campbell, shoot first, ask questions later. That seems to be the theme of this.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I saw movement and I started firing.
If you've seen the people at the Home Depot, you start shooting at them, and then you figure out what's going to happen.
Do you remember this show at all? Anyone remember this one?
I remember this show. And fellas, you forget.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
It gets better. There's a whole other part to this that we're going to show. There's a part 2 to this, and it gets a lot better. This is one of my favorite shows. I wanted to make sure I spent a good time on it, but it is quite interesting.
I will say though, this guy's from the era of like, you go fishing and you're drinking beer, you just fill up your cans, let them sink to the bottom, keep everything clean, shoot every animal you see. Don't need a license for it. Yeah. You have one license. It covers everything. Shoot all you want. Where like nowadays you're like, oh crap, I shot one too many things. I'm terrified, Yeah, the ranger's going to show up.
In the second part of this call, you get to hear how the difference between how old this gentleman is. Like you really get to understand. Like he's from a different world, like a different whole different world. Because Robert is asking him questions that he's like, what? Like completely. He's this guy lives.
Robert is funny though, because Robert's like the straight man. He's like, so it walked on 2 legs, but you continued to shoot. Okay,
Yeah.
I've got it.
Roman, it had red eyes. It had red eyes.
It was hunched over.
So does my wife.
Oh my god! All right, here's the second part of that, and like I said, it gets even better.
I'd like to know. They've got a 5-year-old listening, and they want to know really what these creatures look like. Now, you said not exactly human, not exactly total animal, like something in between. Is there any way you can describe the facial features of these creatures? It should be imprinted on your memory.
Yeah, Art. No, because I've never seen nothing on this earth that looks like them. Their heads, they have a nose similar to a human.
Okay.
Their mouths appear to be more ape. Their eyes are sunken back in their head more than human. I mean, I think if you take a human and cross it with a ape, you could probably come up with a reasonable facsimile of it.
Okay. You know what I might suggest, Art, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Bugs, after we go off the air, if you would give Art your mailing address, which
Art has my mailing address, he has my phone numbers, he has everything.
Okay, what I'd like to do is...
Robert, let me just interrupt. I've promised him anonymity, and we'll explain why here shortly.
Now, that's how nice he was to guests, right? He would tell them, look, if you don't want your name out, I won't give it out. And he shows this here in this clip. I think that's pretty cool.
No. What I meant by what I mean is, what I'd do is send a copy to you, Art, and have you forward it to Bugs. The idea is this. On the cover of that is one of the best artist renderings I've ever seen because I sat with the artist myself.
On the cover of what?
On the cover of the cassette that I have.
Of a cassette? Oh, of your cassette, all right.
Right, and that way, what I'd like to do is get a reaction from Bugs and he can tell that to you. That's number one. Number two, can I ask you something, Bugs? What kind of soil were these two buried in? Was it sandy? Was it dirt?
This part of the country is sandy loam, and it was it wasn't silk sand, but it was a sandy loam in that particular place where we buried them. It was more of a gravel type sand because it was. It did have some rock in it because that creek was probably from the point we buried them. The creek kind of went south, about probably 150, 200 yards, and then it turned back east. And over the period of time when we had a lot of high rains in this part of the country, it would wash silt and such in there.
Are you saying that the creek would overflow into this specific area?
Yes.
Oh boy. Because that'll cause a different type of decomposition. Did you take a GPS reading?
A what?
Probably not, Robert. I would say not. A GPS.
Oh, no, I don't have one of them animals.
Yeah.
Okay, if we supplied one, would you take the readings and send those to Art?
Well, he's given me an extremely specific map. Oh, okay. Very, very specific.
I mean, that map is detailed down.
Yeah.
To the foot.
You would know where to dig. Listen.
To be honest with you, this happened 30-plus years ago, and I have not been out there since.
Bugs, when you had these things lying on the ground, what did you guys talk about, and why did you decide to bury them?
We thought they could be human, Art. and we didn't want to go to jail.
Jesus Christ.
What you just described is what. Yeah, I understand. In other words, there were enough
when you're sitting there and you're looking at the sexual organs of two animals that's got identical to human beings, what do you think?
Robert, with what you know about Bigfoot, do they have sexual organs? The reports you get, do they have sexual organs similar to humans?
Oh yes, oh yes.
They do.
So far, everything that Bugs has mentioned is something that I've observed myself. So yes.
Oh.
He's right on the nose.
Thank you,
I've
Robert.
seen many
I appreciate
genitalia
that
of a
fact.
Bigfoot.
Have you ever seen Bugs any of the Bigfoot photos, like the Patterson film? Any of those
I
that
have
exist?
not, Art.
You haven't.
No.
Would somebody please send me a good Bigfoot photograph right away?
I'm on the computer. I can't look at it.
Well, it's too bad our website isn't up because we have all of them on there.
Oh, you do?
Yes, and unfortunately it's under reconstruction right at the moment.
Okay, well, somebody will send us a photograph. Depend on that. In the next 15 minutes or so, we'll try and get it up for the next hour.
I will
Again, this
give
is
a little more
2001.
detail as to the location of
2001.
this to tease the people out there.
All right.
The biggest river in the state of Texas that I guess you might say is the Red River. This Elm Creek is a branch off of the Red River of the state of Texas.
Okay. That's the only sound. Actually, you heard that scream sound, but other than that, you heard a growling. Well, you would describe as
Art, I don't know whether it was a growling or a rustling or something, but something got our attention in those bushes.
Now, when they moved, you said they moved on 2 feet, or seemed to walk on 2 feet, hunched over or straight up?
He was hunched over. To be honest with you, when it was running, it looked like a bear. When it was running away from us, it looked like a bear, and I'm thinking dollar signs. That's why I fired.
He was probably pretty badly injured by your first fusillade. And what he was doing, I think, is, number one, escaping. Number two, he was going to the protection, hopefully, of his mate. And the mate may have picked him up and carried him to where you caught him.
I don't know that happened. It's possible because there was grass where he came out of that creek and headed east there.
Mm-hmm.
Maurice in Modesto, California asks, if you were hunting for money, why didn't you all decide to bring these creatures back for a hell of a profit? They'd be worth a fortune.
Yeah, and maybe go to jail for the rest of your life, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fellow in Modesto is overlooking the fact that if these are humanoids, then under the American Constitution, they have civil rights, and Bugs is indeed correct. He could be charged with manslaughter at least.
You know what? By the time we did the original show, by the time we finished the original show, Bugs was actually going to invite me out there, and we were going to dig these bodies up.
Good.
This was years ago.
I said I'd show you, Art. I ain't digging them up.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I own a farm near this place.
Yes, sir.
And Art, I won't go out there at night because about, a year or so ago, I was out there late one evening with my dogs. They love to go out and swim in the creek. And I heard that sound, and Art, I know they still want out there, and to be honest with you, I think they're looking for me.
Oh, my Lord.
There's a John Wick Sasquatch after him now.
Oh my God!
There you go. That was.
I never heard that show before. That was incredible.
You can listen to the full show. The links are all in the description of all this stuff. You can listen to the full show.